Hello, Internet! My name is Catherine Barsony, and you are watching the Gluttonous Geek presents Munchies Minis. My name is Catherine Barson. I just told you that. I run the nerdy food blog, The Gluttonous Geek, where I make recipes based off of TV shows, video games, novels, and, such as today with Munchies Minis, tabletop role-playing games. And Munchies Minis just happens to be my, for the most part, weekly cooking show where I make recipes based off of various tabletop role-playing games such as Pathfinder, Dungeons & Dragons, Shadowrun, hopefully upcoming this Wednesday, Humble Folk. And today we are coming back to Pathfinder. I know there's a lot of controversy with Paizo right now. I don't want to focus on Paizo's controversy, even though I think their management is treating their workers rather poorly, and that is to put it mildly. In fact, the reason why I'm wanting to push more of the first edition stuff is because the artists, all the artists and writers and game creators, as opposed to the management, who's worked on the Pathfinder series, they're just all fantastic people, fantastic artists. If you can, find their Patreon and support them. Find their Ko-Fi, buy them a coffee, buy them 20 coffees. They are going through some crap right now, so I'm sure that they could definitely use some love. But like I said, as we did last episode, we were in the country of Uslav from Pathfinder's core setting, campaign setting. We are returning, we did an episode making some sour cherry soup with caraway pancake strips. This episode, we are moving from Shelas, or what was the name of it? The Savage Vine, to Lepidstadt, home of Lepidstadt University, which is kind of like, I want to say sort of a mix between Prague and Miskatonic University. I'm still sticking in Transylvania, considering that Uslav itself is based off of very old world Eastern Europe, mostly kind of the Transylvanian area, which is kind of funny when I say Prague and I talk about Transylvania, despite being in two completely different countries. Thing is, Transylvania is the home to more than just the Romanian population. It was also home to Hungarians, Orthodox Jews, as well as, Saxons. So it's kind of a little mishmash of various cultures, a melting pot, if you will. And the reason why I feel like I can kind of talk about this is, one, I'm half Transylvanian. That's right, my entire father's family is from Romania. Granted, it was my great-grandparents that came over, but that's a different story. All of my great-grandparents on that side came from around the same two villages in northern Transylvania, outside of Fagarash, with exception to my great-grandmother, who came in from around the Black Sea, well, great-great-grandmother, who came in from around the Constanza Black Sea area of Romania. That's a different story. We're gonna get to our recipe, I promise. Anyway, today's recipe is based out of Lepidstadt, home of Lepidstadt University, and also happens to be home of the Brazen Skull, a pub as well as a dueling club, where, yes, they have taps all arranged around tallies. Here, I'm just going to read it off the description here. A favorite pub of members of the university's dueling fraternities, the Brazen Skull holds the rapiers of famed alumni in place of honor upon taproom walls arranged in racks like deadly tally marks. Above the hearth's forest of trophies hangs the blade of owner Kasia Kaziznik, and a bronze stone giant skull said to shed a single tear every time a member of one of the university's dueling brotherhood dies. They don't mention any food in this, but being a pub in a university town, I was thinking it would make some kind of measure of sense that there would be some kind of, specialty on the menu for pub goers, whether they're dueling or not. That is why I consulted my big fat list of cookbooks going over the Carpathian regions as well as Transylvanian cooking, and found a recipe for something called Bulz, which, yes, today's episode's on balls. Not not testicles, mind you, balls. We're going to be making some polenta balls filled with feta cheese and mix of dry and fresh herbs. And to go along with that, we're going to be making a dipping sauce kind of based on another Romanian dish, garlic sauce. But we're kind of mixing it up a little bit. So there's actually, I found 2 recipes for basically kind of condiments in Transylvanian cooking that I thought would be kind of interesting. One for kind of a raspberry sauce, one for a garlic sauce. I decided to kind of combine it a little bit to add a little bit of tanginess and acidity to our polenta recipe. Because polenta itself, it's tasty, especially once you add the feta cheese. It does have a little bit of tanginess to it, but to really drive it home, I think that mixture of garlic and raspberry is going to work out quite nicely. So, before I happen to, I don't know, ramble on any further, and hopefully my, while I'm on my rambling, just to give you a heads up, you probably see on the screen that I'm going to be making Owl House fried orbs today. If you've ever seen the Owl House cartoon, well, hello, I love you. If you haven't seen the Owl House cartoon, I don't love you, watch it. No. Go ahead and watch it. It's on Disney Plus, or you can stream it elsewhere. It's a fantastic show that is so inclusive and so beautiful. I highly recommend that you watch it. I'm going to be making the fried orb from the Carnival episode. Granted, I'm not going to finish said fried orb tonight. It is a recipe that, in fact, takes at least 2 days because I need to make the filling and freeze it before I deep fry it. So, that's the thing I'm going to be doing in addition to today's recipe. Let's get started before I start rambling off on another subject or possibly have another allergy attack, because it is fall in my town right now. And no, I will not do what the newscasters are saying about fall this year, because that's our word. Y'all is our word. Stop using it unironically. Stop it. So, okay. Right. The Brazen Skulls, Bulz, and sauce. So, first what you're going to need is that we're going to be needing to make our polenta, i.e. mamaliga, which is the Romanian word for polenta. Granted, sweet corn wasn't really a thing in medieval times as much, but, you know, this is a fantasy setting. Sweet corn exists in this particular setting, so we're going to be using cornmeal. No, you don't need to get any kind of special polenta mix or anything like that. We're making it the Romanian way with cornmeal. So, I need to get a saucepan and not hit my foot against the stool I still have in the middle of my floor. Saucepan, holy saucepan. Let's see, that should hold it just fine. Okay, so I'm going to need about 2 cups of water in this sucker here. Just going to add that. 1 and 2. And I'm going to go ahead and set that on my stove top, and I'm not going to turn it on yet because I do need to do a little bit of prep before I start in on that. So, helps to have some fresh rosemary. We're going to be doing a mix of fresh rosemary and dried dill in our polenta itself. So I've got about 2 sprigs. You'll want to have about a tablespoon or a wee bit more. I might just do more. You know what? I'm going to save that part of the sprig for my photo after the episode. And just going to take off that bit. Pardon me. Like I said, it's autumn, and our windows have been open the past few days because the folks who said they were going to fix our AC and furnace still have not done so yet. So, Just gonna give that rosemary a quick chop. In fact, I might turn off the sound for a second to blow my nose, because I know that sounds gross. Hold on. Alright, thank you for your patience on that. It really didn't hit me until about an hour ago or so. It's also why we're running a little late right now, because my head's a little spacey from my allergies kicking me in the face. Speaking of which, I'm going to go ahead and get some tea started, for that matter. Okay. Let's see, that's about a tablespoon. Sweet. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and get a small little prep dish to put my herbs in. Or, do I put it at the same time as the polenta? If that's the case. Huh. No, I don't. So, just gonna stick that in there. And you're gonna need about how much? 2 teaspoons of dried dill. So, I'm just going to grab myself a teaspoon. Oh. Actually, we're going to mix that down to 1 teaspoon of dried dill. Because dried herbs tend to be, well, screw it, we'll do 2. With the strength of that raspberry sauce, raspberry and garlic yogurt sauce we're going to be making as our side, can kind of block it out the herbs a little bit, so I'm going to get that. And did my kosher salt end up on the other side of the kitchen? Yes, it did. All right. It's, I'm running around a little bit today, if you couldn't already tell. That is the trouble with having something like a sprained foot. You run out of spell slots so much earlier in the day. So, let's get my kosher salt going. Alright. Hey, I'm just glad that my neighbor decided to finish doing his yard work right before I started streaming. So, I'm just going to add a pinch of salt to that. And let's see here, I'm going to be needing, I realize, yeah, I do need to do more prep. We're going to be including some grated white cheddar cheese, which is going to be very similar to Kashival cheese, except you can buy white cheddar here in the States, and you're less likely to buy Kashival cheese in the States. If you happen to live in Romania or have a, what's it called? A place to buy food, a grocery store, international grocery store that happens to sell Kashival cheese, and it looks like CASCAVAL, something like that. Sure, you can buy that, kind of a semi-firm cheese, like a firm cheese like this. However, since it's cheaper and also from a Kroger, we went with some Vermont extra sharp cheddar. So I'm going to be needing about 3 ounces of that. This is how much? About 8 ounces, so a little less than half. So around, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it in half and then take 2 slices off of it to enjoy on my own. So 1 and 2, that should be enough. Cheers. Okay. So, now, just need to grate that sucker. There you go, pretzel. There you go. Now, if I was being a lot lazier, I'd probably do this in the food processor, but I'm not, because for such a small quantity, I don't want to have to wash my entire food processor bowl again to just grate some cheese, and a very small quantity of cheese at that. So I'm going to be risking my fingernails today. You're welcome. Doing this the, what's it called? Manual way. Hello, Chiptune Brony, how are you? Good to see you. It's been a while. Alright. Awesome. Doing good. Yeah, I know my streaming has been a little more sporadic as of late. It's because I sprained my foot a couple of weeks ago at Dragon Con. So I'm hopping around. And like I said, it depletes my energy levels, so I actually today I went to pick up my friend's business cards from print place. I met my husband for lunch, and I bought groceries, and then went home and fell asleep for like 2 hours. Sent you a fictional food playlist of the month, Halloween Bash 2021. Awesome. I will probably play it for our Wizards Party bonfire or something later this month. Well, not later this month. We're talking early November. Because we're going to try to do Wizard Party, but in a much smaller setting. Okay, I probably don't need more than this amount of cheese, but I'm gonna keep grading. But yeah, we're gonna try to do Wizard Party this year, but with the Delta variant and everything, we're gonna keep it smaller. And also, since I got laid off back in August, I have to budget myself a little tighter as far as entertaining people goes. I mean, I'm okay. I am very lucky to be married to somebody who has a good paycheck, but I really need to be careful with my spending, especially when it comes to food stuff. So we're going to be doing more of a potluck this year rather than the spread that lasts us a couple of weeks afterwards. Well, actually, no, it doesn't. And guess how much I weigh today? 176.2 pounds. Oh, you bitch. No, sorry. You're a very kind individual. No, I'm like, I think I'm skirting the edge of 200. Yeah. No, I will say one thing about having a sprained foot, and that's, it's kind of interesting the workout you end up getting. For example, I went to Gen Con, not last weekend, but the weekend prior up in Indianapolis. And I was on a foot scooter the entire time. Well, it's not a foot scooter, a knee scooter. It's like where, I mean, you prop up the injured leg on the little padded seat and everything, and then push yourself around the scooter. The only trouble with that is it's great on hardwood floors and concrete. It is terrible, however, on carpet. So it was like doing 1,000,000 squats, but on one leg. So yeah, I will admit, I was looking at myself in the mirror before getting into the shower the other day. I went, one of my butt cheeks is smaller. This is a bit weird. I know, TMI, but, Oh, sweet. Congratulations on your cool Weight Watcher sticker. Right. Let's see. I've got, I think, everything. Doop-doop-doo. Cool. All right, so one last thing I need to do before I start getting my polenta boiling. Polenta boiling, not bowling. To be good is about 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. So, just gonna go ahead and get that cut and ready to go. So, all right, so I got about 2 cups of water on my stovetop. Just need to get that boiling. And what am I doing? Fan. Put a fan on it. There we go. All right. So, all right. Cheese. It's actually quite good with a bit of dillweed on it. Yay. So I mentioned that these little polenta balls, Bulz, are stuffed with feta cheese. Well, that's the thing about them too. They're also mixed with, what's it called? Cheddar cheese as well. So they're stupidly cheesy. It's kind of like, I want to say kind of like a Romanian version of mozzarella stick. So, that's going to be tasty. We're also going to need about a cup of Greek yogurt, which I have in my fridge. Just need to get out of here and not knock things over. All right. So, I'm just going to go ahead and measure that out for now. And have it in its own container. However, while I am literally waiting for water to boil, there's another thing I need to get started on. As you saw on the, I guess, in this particular screen, it's below me. I am making an owl house recipe for the blog, and to be able to time it right before the end of this month, I need to make the filling for it tonight. So, if you ever watched The Owl House, awesome. If you haven't, it's a cartoon about this girl who's supposed to be set off for this normalcy camp. And, I know, like how to be normal summer camp, whatever. Anyway, she ends up going through a magical portal into this world that's everyone is able to do magic, full of witches and demons, and she meets this outlaw witch and convinces her to train her how to be a witch. Anyway, this episode is from, I want to say, the first or second season. I can't remember off the top of my head. There's an episode where she goes to a carnival with their little furry sidekick King, and he's adorable. And one of the things at said carnival is a fried orb, which looks like a giant popcorn ball, but when you bite into it, it's gooey and purple. So what I'm going to be doing for the fried orb is I'm going to be making some gulab jamun, which is an Indian dessert that is basically little small donuts made with milk powder that have been first kind of deep fried and puffed up, and then soaked in rosewater syrup. We're not going to do rosewater syrup. We're, in fact, going to use grape Kool-Aid and make a simple syrup with grape Kool-Aid to let that soak in. Then we're going to cluster it up, freeze it, and then coat it in biscuit dough to deep fry it again. So it basically, it's a donut. It's fried frozen donuts, but in a good way. I promise you it'll be excellent. I'm looking forward to doing it and hoping sincerely that it's not going to just completely fail on me. All right, so we're gonna need about a cup and a half of cornmeal, which I've got cornmeal right here. Let's see, but we are not at that point yet, because first we are going to season our polenta with our rosemary, dill, and kosher salt, as well as add a wee bit of fat, i.e. the butter. 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. So first, got my herbs, then I got my butter, and I just have to wait for that to melt. In the meantime, I'm gonna need to get my cornmeal ready. So, this I can be a little less crazy about getting the entire amount on time. As you can see, it's doing its thing. So, this is where you would either use a wooden spoon or, in this case, a spatula, because the stuff does get kind of sticky. And that matter, I need my yogurt, so I'm just going to go ahead and get my yogurt ready, because I'm going to need it pretty quickly after I get that cornmeal in the mix. I mean, not terribly quickly, but quickly enough. Let's see, about a cup of yogurt, right? Yes, it was in fact a cup of Greek yogurt. So, just measuring that out real quick, and I've got that ready to go. And where's my measuring cup? Ah, here we are. So, as you can see, the butter is melted, but not completely. I'm going to wait until all of that butter melts. But yeah, spatula and wire whisk. The wire whisk is to get the cornmeal in without any clumps. That's what the wire whisk is. The spatula is to keep it stirring, but also non-sticking to anything once we get that whisked in. So, cup and a half. So, there's 1, 2, and 3. Whisking, 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 whisking to make sure that I don't have any dry clumps of cornmeal. As you can see, it soaks it up pretty darn quickly. So, just got to get that out of there. Come on. Hold on to that for later. And then I just need to stir it. For how long? Reduce the heat to medium, and stir clockwise for about 5 minutes. So we set a timer for 5 minutes. Go. Let's see. Hey, Strike. Welcome back. You can tell this is the part where it kind of gets into sort of a arm workout. I'm just going to lower the heat a bit more down to medium-low. Got a quick second. I'm going to go ahead and line a baking sheet with foil. Come on. All right. Oof, I think I just burned my wrist on that. It's fine. I'm fine. Alrighty. So. I'm just going to quickly set up a, what's its face, trivet over on my workspace. Get my yogurt over here. Alright, I think that looks pretty done. We're less than a minute out. There we go. And go ahead and turn off the stovetop for now. Switch to our prep space. I'm just going to now add in yogurt and cheese a bit at a time and sort of blend that sucker in. To let that all absorb. I can tell you this smells pretty dang amazing right now. Pardon me, my allergies are still kicking me in the face. Okay, that looked funny. Let's see. Let's pull this a little bit further in so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. Yogurt, a bit more cheese. Whew. Did not expect to get this much of an arm workout tonight. I probably should have, because this is not the first time I've made mamaliga. This is the first time I've made Bulz. So. Alright, let's get more of both. So, spoonful of Greek yogurt. Scattering of cheese. look how that just beautifully blends and melts in to our polenta. I mean, that and combined with the rosemary and dill, it just smells amazing in here right now. I know it's hard to believe I can smell anything right now with my allergies kicking me in the face, but trust me, it's there, and I kind of want to eat it before I finish it, but no, we're going to be good. We're going to be waiting this out until it is finished. Beautiful and ready to take photos. So, let's just get the last of all of this dairy into my mamaliga. There we go. And I am going to need that for the sauce in a bit, so I'm going to keep that available. There we go. Alrighty. Right. Once that is all blended in, you can see it's already starting to cool. However, this is where our baking sheet with foil comes in. So, line a baking sheet with foil. Doesn't have to be perfect. This is actually to help this cool down in a workable surface. So I'm just gonna spread this stuff out in an even layer to cool. Also, when it's flat like this, it cools a bit faster, allowing us to work with it a little bit easier. Pat that out and stick this off to the side until it cools down a little bit more. Okay. Pardon me, my allergies are killing me. I need to blow my nose again. One moment. Let me just mute that so you don't have to listen to me. Okay, so our polenta is made. And now I just need to let that cool for about 20 minutes while I preheat my oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, I'm just going to stick the butter back in the fridge for now. Okay. So, now, I need a 1/3 of a cup measuring cup. That's not a 1/3 of a cup measuring cup. Where did my 1/3 cup go? 1/3 cup. Here we are. Okay. So, here's where the fun part comes in. Or at least one of the fun parts comes in. So, first, I'm going to go ahead and line this guy, once again, with some foil. give it a quick spritz once again because I'm paranoid. Some cooking spray. Then I need to grab my feta cheese crumbles from the fridge. You're gonna need about 5 ounces. Most stores will sell them to you about 5 ounces. Hi. Hello. How are you? Can I help you, ma'am? Okay. So we're probably gonna have some feta left over after this. Did I write 5 ounces or 6 ounces? I wrote down 5 ounces. Okay. This container is about 6 ounces, but oh no, I'll have some feta cheese left over. Anything but that. Okay, so got a 1/3 cup measuring cup. And I should probably just pull this up a little higher so you can see what I'm doing. A little bit more. I know it's at a weird angle. I promise you it's not going to be as weird as some things. All right, get a spoon and a spoon. So I just need to get about a 1/3 cup scoop of polenta into my measuring cup here. Just gonna go ahead and squish it. Squish, 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 squish. Curse at myself for not. There we go. Roll it kind of into a ball, or at least compress it into a ball. Come on. Probably let it cool too long, but we'll make it work. Just going to do this to then compress it as much as possible to create a divot like so. And into which we're going to put a wee bit of feta cheese crumbles inside. So just going to squish that around the cheese like so. Make sure to hold everything in so it doesn't crumble away from you. Oh, right. No wonder I needed to use wet hands. Well, that'll still be fine. We'll just wet my hands a little bit. There we go. That can soak in the water. All right, so back into the cup, we shall add more polenta. And pop that out into wet hands. Did say wet. Giggity. All right. And see, it kind of absorbs the water from my hands as I'm working, though some of it, of course, is being a wee bit uncooperative. So, and again. I just need a dish of water so I don't keep doing this. I'll get that in the next one. All right, so there we go. Let that absorb as you're working it. And then we're just going to press a depression into our mound of polenta, like so. Add a wee bit of feta cheese, and then close that all up. And squish it as much as possible into a ball. These are called Bulz, after all. That's right, like I said, this episode, we're making balls. Lots and lots of balls. That wasn't a euphemism, but, you know, I will not judge you if you happen to keep it as so. So, all right. that out. Get myself, oh, this dish I have right here that I was using for cheese. We can use that as a water dish. All right. We'll just stick that there for now. So, not the best layout, I know, but it's better than right next to my notebook where I wrote all these instructions. Okay. Let's see, about a third of a cup. Scoop. It's kind of like cornmeal Play-Doh, I guess, but it tastes better. Okay, mound of cornmeal. Wet my hand. Wet my other hand. Okay, there we go. That's cooperating. I spoke too soon. It's kind of cooperating a little better. All right, come back here. All right. Scoop of feta cheese. Like I said, this is kind of like the Transylvanian version of a mozzarella stick. Or hush puppies, or... Honestly, there's just so much cheese already in the dough. It's just super cheesy. Ah, get back here. You're not cooperating. You're supposed to cooperate. All right, there we go. And there's another one. So, just add a little bit of water to the cup to keep it moist. All right. There we go. All right. Moisten the hand. Polenta. Wet the other hand. There we go. Kind of reminds me of making mitite, which is another Romanian/Transylvanian dish. Very spicy sausages that absorb so, like when you make an, it soaks up so much water, and part of it, it's like that to keep it moist while it's cooked directly on coals or on the grill. I won't judge you either way. There we go. Probably don't need this much cheese, to be honest with you. I mean, if this was behaving a little easier, that'd be one thing, but it's testing me, that's for sure. There we go. I mean, if I had cubed instead of crumbled, that'd be one thing, but I have crumbled. There we go. All right. Okay. There we go. Ah. right, polenta does actually lose moisture as it dries, so I'm basically rehydrating it here to mold it a bit more. There we go. Come on. Haha. There we go. Okay. Oh, yeah. Work, dang it. Oh, it's so crumbly. Come on. All right. Ooh, that's 6. We're getting there. All right. There we go. Whew, we're almost there. I think probably another up to 4 at this rate. We'll see. Come on. Just a wee bit more in there. Okay. Oh, okay. Now, this is actually not the first time I've made mamaliga, i.e. polenta, for the show. The first time it was for Vito Caldevere's lamb, where I made a rack of lamb that I covered with, it kind of did sort of a Byzantine take on lamb with fish sauce and herbs. But then, since Dalliance, Vito Caldevere's restaurant in Pathfinder First Edition, is located in Uslav, I figured, you know, he's this kind of upscale, different menu every night. But also, I know how most restaurants work. There's always some kind of meat and potatoes dish for Grandpa, who can't be bothered to try anything new. So, in Uslav, i.e. Romania, that would be meat and mamaliga. So I made a very creamy and herbed mamaliga, i.e. polenta, for that dish, and that's also on my blog, thegluttinousgeek.com. I've also made polenta for the blog. It's kind of like little goat cheese-filled polenta cakes to go with lamb stew, based off of the Doctor Who Last Centurion Pandorica Opens episode, which... that was, oh my gosh, that's an old school recipe. I did that was back in 2015 when I first started this blog. So, I will say ahead of time, the photos are terrible. The dish, however, is delicious. That was when I had a little point and shoot and a desk lamp for lighting. So, you can imagine, the photos weren't so great on that one. Normally, actually, when I make mamaliga, it's for family holidays. Well, for holidays, where it's kind of a tradition, with my family at least, to make mamaliga, kind of a layered mamaliga casserole type thing, where we take strips of polenta, layer it with, well, it was sour cream, but I started doing Greek yogurt because it's a little lighter, or just kind of a mix of sour cream and Greek yogurt, with chopped bacon, shredded Swiss cheese, and, what's it called? Garlic powder, black pepper, and oregano. And that's how I normally do it anyway. Come on. There we go. It's a heart attack on wheels, but oh my god, it's delicious. Not to mention the leftovers make fantastic breakfasts. Actually heat it up and add a fried egg. Mwah, so good. I would do a chef's kiss, but there's food on my hands right now. So, which is kind of ironic in its own sense. It's like, do you trust someone who does a chef's kiss as they're cooking, as they're preparing your food? They just touch their mouth. I mean, There you go. Squish, 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 squish. Yeah, I think I might be able to get a dozen out of that. Ah! Get back in there. Do as you're told. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna get a dozen. I'm okay with this. Okay. That means if you happen to have a full party, you can give 2 to each person. Just gonna add a bit of water to our measuring cup there. Re-moisten up that polenta. Yeah, get back here. Okay. Come on. There we go. There we go. All right. Correction, I might get 13 out of this. Okay. Noted. There we go. Cool. There we go. Cheese. I'm just going to dip that in water before putting it on the tray. Wow. Yep, we're going to get 13. Awesome. That means I'll have 1 to eat at the end. Yay! Come on. There we go. Come on. reason why it's taking me a while is that the center of it is a bit dry, so I'm trying to reincorporate the moisture into it without it crumbling completely apart on me when I'm trying to create a depression for the cheese. There we go. Okay. Awesome. That is all formed up. So, just gonna give that a quick roll in some water. I'll just do that with all of them. Add a little bit more moisture back into them. Those are all feeling fine for the most part. Okay. Alright, that means with these all formed, I can stick them in the oven, which has currently been preheated to about 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay. Whew. All right. So, that is the sound of my polenta screaming at me. Hello. Hello, Ginger. How are you, my princess? Okay. Those I'm going to put in for another 2 minutes. And then we're going to get started on our sauce. So, back to our stovetop. That's the wrong, here it is. Okay, so we've got about a tablespoon of butter in our saucepan. First, I'm going to need to find where the heck I put things. Derp-a-derp-a-derp. So, gonna need about two teaspoons of flour. And first I'm going to melt that over medium heat. Where the heck's my black pepper? Ah, here we are. And how much black pepper am I going to need? Half a teaspoon of black pepper. So this is a quarter teaspoon. 1 and 2. Give that a quick rinse. And 8 of these. Well, 6. So about 3 cloves worth of minced garlic, which is about, according to my thingy is about a teaspoon and a half. Yes, yes, I hear you, polenta. All right. All right, and our butter is melted, which is good because it's time to do the next thing on our thing. Here we are. Bulz. Which are still a wee bit too hot to handle because they are also sticking, which they shouldn't. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. So, got our 2 teaspoons of all-purpose flour. Gonna take a wooden spoon, this guy here, and stir that for about 60 seconds to create kind of a roux, like so. Right. So that means we need a 1/4 cup of water. This is a 1/2 cup. I'm just going to pour about half of it. And I leave it up to you whether you want to use fresh raspberries or raspberry jam. I am using fresh raspberries today. So I'm just going to put about a handful. I'm okay. I did not get on the food. Of fresh raspberries into my pan with a 1/4 cup of water. And where to put it? Oh! Help if I actually showed you what I was doing. Here we are. And a tablespoon of fish sauce, like so. And we're just going to simmer that until those berries explode. And it reduces down some. Or we can just mash it like this. That works too. That is looking rather lovely, if I do say so myself. So, okay, yogurt. This is when we add about a 1/2 cup of that Greek yogurt that we had earlier. We'll just use the same container we were measuring with earlier for the yogurt. About half of it this time. About a 1/2 cup. Just going to reduce the heat down to low some. And what I'm doing here is because I added that flour to the mix, that should prevent the yogurt from curdling when it all cooks together. So, just gotta stir that all in. And then let that simmer for about 5 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to give that a try. Just going to grab myself a prep dish. See if it needs anything. Okay. Because I used fresh raspberries and not raspberry jam, I do need a little bit of sweetening. So I'm going to add some honey to the mix once I find out where I put the darn stuff. Where are you, honey? Honey, honey, honey. Honey, yes. All right. Glob that in there. I'm just going to reduce the heat down to low some. What is my dish? Ah, here we are. So. Okay, that's perfect. So I'm going to add a touch more honey. Balance it out, especially since the black pepper kind of kicks you in the back of the throat a little bit. And honestly, you don't need to add salt because there's plenty of salt in that fish sauce that you put in here earlier. So. Excellent. Got our garlic, we got our raspberry, and I would say that is pretty darn finished. So I'm just going to turn the heat off of that. And by now, our Bulz, I know, should be cool enough to handle. There we go. Oh. Not all of them are. Okay, that's a sacrifice. So, I'm going to grab myself a little dish and add some more sauce. That's good. Where are you? Little dish. Here we are. That's good. That one. So with that, oh, and by the way, if you're wondering, what those the filling for our what's it called? Fried orb looks like so far. It's definitely soaking up the syrup nicely. Let me just switch it back to the prep cam here. Check that out. So yeah, we just need to let that soak up to at least 2 hours. And I would say actually go for overnight, because then it's also cool enough to handle and has soaked up a good amount of that grape Kool-Aid syrup. So then we can then freeze the insides. So, I think that turned out really good. Yay! Success! It worked! I'm so happy. All right, and with that, I would like to thank you for joining me tonight for the Gluttonous Geek Presents Munchies Minis. We will be streaming again, I promise this time, on Wednesday with a recipe hopefully based off of the 5e setting Humblewood, which is kind of like D&D meets Redwall. And I'm sure, oh, my husband's running in to show off the book. Yes, it was part of my Gen Con haul. So yeah, we'll be doing something based off of that on Wednesday. I just need to figure out what that is tomorrow. And those on Patreon will be receiving recipe cards over the next few days. Anywho, hoot. It has been a good and productive night. I will see y'all on Wednesday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern. My name is Catherine Barsonistas, and as always, stay safe, stay sane, stay you. This has been the Gluttonous Geek presents Munchies Minis. Have a great night.